Agnes at 50.
Speaking of floods, he's covered a lot of floods, presidential visits, even China.
Still ahead on Eyewitness News, bidding farewell to a man who witnessed more than 4 decades of local news from the lens of his camera. It's a bittersweet day for the Eyewitness News family. Our most veteran photojournalist on staff is retiring.
28-22, Eyewitness News reporter Mark Hiller sat down with Mark Albrecht to reflect on what's been a long and very successful career.
I'm rolling if you're ready.
Okay, here we go. This is the tease in 3. For the past 44 years, Mark Albrecht has been the man behind the camera, the guy with the gear, covering stories in northeastern and central Pennsylvania. When he arrived at Eyewitness News in 1978 as a 22-year-old, he turned a part-time job into a full-time career.
Loved every minute of it except when I was angry as heck.
But that didn't happen too often.
No. Gosh. No. There's a lot of emotion in what we do, but it's all, if it's funneled into the right spot, I think it works.
Work is nothing Albrecht ever shied away from, no matter the hour of the day or night, or where the story would take him.
That's me in Beijing, China, Tiananmen Square.
In 1984, it meant a nearly month-long assignment in China. He manned the camera to cover the Wyoming Seminary varsity soccer squad, becoming the first U.S. high school team to compete against their Chinese counterparts.
Just the greatest opportunity ever, and it was like the stars aligned.
He's seen it all, including the technological changes to his job.
We went from video news film. This was 3 minutes. You had to shoot the whole story with 3 minutes of roll time. Then it was a big deal. We went to 15 or 20 or 30-minute tapes. Now, almost 2 hours on just an SD card.
While fond of the old days in television news, he doesn't miss the old gear, not one bit.
The gear was really heavy. I mean, I carried a 25-pound camera, we wore a 30-pound belt, and then there was a 15-pound tape recorder. I don't know how only my feet are falling apart.
Sometimes he put down his camera and got in front of it, like in the early 1980s at the Little League World Series.
It was Taiwan, the odds-on heavy favorite. Let's tell it like it is, guy.
Right
You've
now,
been watching them.
Taiwan looks really hard to touch right now.
In the early 2000s, he was Captain Mark for a couple of years on the morning newscast. Through the work, he managed to find the fun where he could, especially at
the Jameson City Tobacco Spitting Contest.
He thought he was just going to shoot the contest and a parade.
And they said, come on, hop on the float. The next thing you know, I'm a featured part of the Jameson City Parade.
No 2 workdays have been exactly the same, which kept Albrecht coming back for more.
Whether it's just something going extremely well, that you're not rushed, but you're filling your day and you're getting a good story, or just surviving, like at the end of the day, that deep breath when it gets on the air. It's rewarding. Instant gratification is what television has been for me.
And working with more than 4 decades of reporters.
This guy is passionate about what he does, in all seriousness, so we're going to miss you here. Thanks. We'll miss you. Gonna miss you, man.
He's made more memories than his cubicle walls can hold. Now the man from Endicott, New York, who became the cameraman at Eyewitness News, can finally call it a career.
I mean, I'm not a Wilkes-Barre boy, but I became one. Northeast PA is home for my kids. My wife was from here. It's amazing to think. Temporary job.
All right, 44 years. And by the way, those of us who've worked with Mark know his passion and knowledge of airplanes.
Check this out. Today, his lovely wife, Maureen, surprised Mark with a flyover with a banner in tow. The plane flew over Wilkes-Barre and by our studios, congratulating Mark on his 44 years with the station. Yeah, beautiful. Congratulations, Mark. Well, hopefully these blue skies are going to stick around for the weekend. Meteorologist Logan Westrop, he's got your eyewitness weather forecast next.
Oh, yeah, it's autographed.
Oh, you're fired. Oh, I thought it said your
Mark,
friend.
You're fired, Bob. That was, you know who that's from?
Not
the
Bob
aquarium
Epstein.
doctor. What's goes to Charlie Hayes' breakfast. Salesman from
Mo Devlin.
Mo Devlin wrote that. Yeah,
Mo.
here.
Mo.
He took it. He says, "Wait, let me
That's
write
funny.
you a message."
Okay,
Yeah.
guys,
funny.
After Epstein was fired.
Okay. Okay, Marco.
Just gonna adjust it this.
Yeah, deep breaths, huh?
Okay, guys.
Well, I imagine you've been taking inventory behind your desk, right?
Cleaned up. No, I didn't clean up yet.
Got a lot of work ahead of you?
Yeah, maybe I'll have to stay on a little longer.
Gosh, I don't want to go for the juggler right out of that thing,
Right.
but I mean, this is...
Oh, it's not going to be easy. Yeah. 44 years on the 13th of June. So when they see this, I will have just completed 44 years at WBRE, 4 years at WBNG in Binghamton prior to that. Loved every minute of it except when I was angry as heck.
But that didn't happen too often, right?
Oh, gosh. No. There's a lot of emotion in what we do, but it's all, you know, if it's funneled into the right spot, I think it works.
I've got to say, in all the years I've worked with everybody, I don't know if I've ever met anybody who's been as passionate about what they do as you. Andy probably is a close second, but I mean,
on the other
that
side
whole
of the
getting
camera.
it right. But I mean, as far as picking up a camera and answering the phone call every time, no matter what the day or time of day or night is, and you're a family guy too.
Yeah, oh, and it's challenging. I mean, part of the reason I left sports halfway through my career here to go into news was too many people told me that sports nights and weekends, that's going to take its toll on your personal life, on your family, and doing things with your kids. And they were right, and I think I did the right thing coming to early mornings with you guys. But it didn't matter what the story was. If I was at it, it was important to me. And I always came back, and you'd hear me sometimes campaigning, oh, I got these really great shots of a story you probably don't need, but, you know, can I get it into the lineup? If you're really, really starved for news, I got the story for you.
And that's that passion.
Wherever I was, you know, I wanted to see it. Sleeping with a scanner. I have the most devoted wife in the whole world because she has to put up with the little man in the box.
I thought you were going to say the scanner took her side of the bed and she slept somewhere else.
No, there were times that me and the scanner should have both been kicked out of the room, that's for sure. And it was that scanner that got us, like one of those nights that I'm listening and oh, there's a fire in Nanticoke. Hey, we were only married probably a year because we were still in our apartment. I said, I'm going to go check out a fire in Nanticoke. Okay, have fun. You know, 1 o'clock in the morning. Next thing I know, they're evacuating Nanticoke, and it's like one of the lead stories on NBC Nightly News. And I was probably the first news person just to pursue it, the Spencer Metal Fire.
Yeah, so what was it? Was toxins filling the air, the concern?
Yeah, it was a metal plating business, and just a big fire that destroyed a big old warehouse kind of a building. And when I think about it, we were all being exposed to it right there next to the fire, but I think they were concerned that the fumes were going to come down. But I mean, they evacuated the entire city of Nanticoke, and I was glad to say that, geez, just hearing that scanner, knowing in those days there was nobody working overnight, to take that ride down to Nanticoke and have it, you know, end up being up for 24 hours and that biggest story was kind of a kick.
From Nanticoke to China. I mean, you've covered various points of the world.
Just the greatest opportunity ever, and it was like the stars aligned because the Baltimore family, who I loved and took good care of me, they went to Wyoming Seminary. Wyoming Seminary gets invited to play as the first high school-aged boys soccer team ever to be invited to China. The light bulb went off in my head as Jim Miller and I were covering that news conference. It's like, I wonder if somebody will be able to go along on that trip. And that was the longest I've ever been away from home because I never was in the military or anything, but we were there a month, better part, 3.5 weeks, and Japan on the way back.
So the fact that NBC was there an Olympics going on? How did you guys encounter Bob Costas and company?
We didn't.
You didn't?
Not in China.
Okay.
No.
Were you part of the trip then where Longworth encountered Costas?
Boy,
No?
Maybe he encountered him and I was like editing or something. Did I miss that?
No, I don't know. But would NBC have been there?
NBC was not there, but it's funny because when we went to China, NBC had just been there because President Nixon, I believe, was the first sitting president to have made a
80s, we would have
visit.
been in a Reagan, though. I thought you guys went when I was here. Whatever, I'll figure it out.
We went in August of 1984.
Okay.
And I got help from the NBC guys in New York because they had been there for maybe the Today Show or somebody had done something live. And there was the hope that we were going to do something live with NBC, but it ended up being too cumbersome. Today, I think it wouldn't be a problem at all. And in my job, the photographer, there's almost no homework. You know what I mean? You come in, here's what you're going to. You go there, You get a picture or two, you come back, and maybe you darn near die trying to get it on the air, but once it's on the air, you're done. And it's the next day. Although some days never kind of end either, because there was one day, God bless him, Craig Davis, Mark Davis of broadcast fame, he and I did, and I think you were possibly anchoring that night, either 9 or 11 stories that we counted. Now that's counting a football game and a weather shot and a trash cleanup with a bunch of kids. But it was one of those days. Every hour there was something else that happened. It was a Saturday, the busiest day of my life. And I'm pretty sure it was like 9 stories, 11 different things that we aired that day.
When you think about story coverage that you've done through the years, from the shooting of it to the editing of it, how it's just changed dramatically, inconceivably.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I only shot film here a little bit, but the station I came from, all we shot was film. There was no videotape. I learned that and picked it up at school, and part of the reason I came to WBRE was they had minicam, the ENG as we called it, electronic news gathering, and I brought my props, but it was amazing. We started out with video. I'm dropping my props. I have my props. Sorry, edit. But we went from video news film. This was 3 minutes. You had to shoot the whole story with 3 minutes of roll time. Then it was a big deal. We went to 15 or 20 or 30-minute tapes. Now, almost 2 hours on just an SD card. So it's amazing to think to go from 3 minutes to 120 minutes is just amazing. And the technology, one of the great chances I wanted in my career when I first started at Channel 12 in Binghamton, every year the Blue Angels or the Thunderbirds would come to the air show. Anything that flew I wanted part of. And I thought, if I'm somewhere long enough and I'm here long enough, I'll get to go up in the Blue Angels. They would take a photographer up in one plane and a reporter in the other. ENG videotape did not take the G-forces well. I don't know that I would have taken the G-forces well. As a result, that went away and we were replaced by what's now probably, a GoPro camera in the cockpit with the reporter, because we know Andy and a few others have already had that chance. Never got that chance. I'm wishing that we were using these, because this could handle the G-forces.
Isn't that something? As the technology has gotten greater, the equipment got lighter.
Oh my gosh, just in time for me to get older. Because, now when the police chase me away from the crime scene, you can't be here, can we help you with that? It's like, the old man has to go. But the gear was really heavy. I mean, I carried a 25-pound camera, we wore a 30-pound belt, and then there was a 15-pound tape recorder. I don't know how only my feet are falling apart.
About that, I was here when you had to go through that extensive operation.
Yeah. I remember the doctor saying, we could probably call this job related, but there were so many things that I loved to do, backpacking, carrying, rock climbing, things that it's only a distant memory now. But it very likely came as a result of me deciding to go shoot cutaway video on the beach in Clearwater, Florida at a spring training special that I was doing with Jim Miller. And I decided I'm going to take my camera down on the beach. We got an hour to kill, barefoot. Oh. I'm sure that's the day that I damaged my feet that'll never get back.
So while beaches are filled with Speedos and bikinis, you're hauling around a battery belt and
yeah. I stood out like a sore. Yeah, I didn't belong on the beach. And yet there was somebody from Pittston. Hey, WBRE! No matter where you go. And that's the joy of, to work in a job where you can be on Clearwater Beach or I didn't have any Pittston fans in China, but I mean, wherever you went, there was somebody who was like, hey, put me on TV.
We talk about the fun we have in our jobs too, and boy, the days that are fun, they're so uplifting.
Yep. Whether it's just something going extremely well, that you're not rushed, but you're filling your day and you're getting a good story, or just surviving. Like at the end of the day, that deep breath when it gets on the air. It's rewarding. Instant gratification is what television has been for me.
I personally, with you, have used your house as a prop. I personally have used your family for stories. You've been a wonderful resource for Eyewitness News.
There were those days. And then you guys paid me back when the kids would do something cute. We had the ice rink in the yard. I didn't even think of that, and it's like, I've got something for the morning weather, and it was with my wife's idea to flood the backyard, and we had a little family neighborhood skating rink and things, and you guys were able to put that on the air, so it was kind of fun to share the home movies, as it were.
Traumatic events that you cover certainly stay in your mind, but is there anything that you covered that was just so much fun, that it was just the best thing you've ever experienced?
And it's funny because I've mentioned we actually have some of the old footage of the Jameson City tobacco spitting contest. And it was part of some weekend holiday affair that they had in little Jameson City. I think it's just over the line into Sullivan County. It's right on that Luzerne County-Sullivan line. Never shot a story there before, never shot one since. I showed up with the camera on a Saturday, and the parade was just ready to start. There was a parade. And they said, come on, hop on the float. The next thing you know, I'm a featured part of the Jameson City parade. I was just a kid. It was probably 1980 or I don't even know what year. And then they had this tobacco spitting contest that I went there for. And it just made me smile. And you can see the story. That's back in the days when in sports, I would go and I'd voice the story that I covered and do a little, reporting on the side, as it were. And we turned it into a sports story. I really enjoyed that part of sports, too, that we did a lot of features, fishing, hunting, that was a great thing about working with Kevin Lynn, John Moran, Jim Miller, three great guys that knew how to have a good time when there wasn't a baseball game or a hockey game going on. Yeah. Traveling with the Red Barons, too. I mean, the first month of Red Barons baseball was on the road, and we went to all those games. The station was very committed, so I knew Rochester, I knew Buffalo, I was in Richmond, Virginia so much, I think I was there for Bat Day and Glove Day at the park.
When you think back of everything that we've gone through, and, as technology has improved, demands seem to have gotten greater. We put more upon individuals.
Yeah.
But what is it that you think you'll miss the very most? I mean, we know you won't miss the long days and the calls in the middle of the night necessarily, as much as I think you're still an adrenaline junkie, at least for the business. But what will you miss?
The people. It's not just the people we work with, which is a great group of Type A's. It's every day going out and getting to say hello to somebody. And the photographer's not supposed to talk. And I love to talk. How many times have you had to put up with that? How many times have I had to edit my own voice out of the background of a shot? I just want, oh my God, would you please shut up? I'm gonna miss though, and bumping elbows with every important person that ever comes to town. What a great excuse to be us, just to go out and say hello. It's so nice to meet you. I mentioned I had breakfast with Dick Cheney once. It's the strangest story, but NBC, it was right after he'd been Secretary of Defense for Bush the first. So during the Clinton administration, he was a resource for defense-related stuff. Today Show wants him. He's in Bethlehem. He was on the board of the railroad there. Union Pacific Railroad is based in Bethlehem. Don't ask me why. Bottom line is, we go to this beautiful townhouse. Somebody lets us in. One of our guys was out in the satellite truck, and I was inside with the camera, just sitting there. They did 1 million light checks and audio checks and everything. Down the stairs comes Dick Cheney, and he says good morning, and he's putting together a breakfast. And we got some time to kill. You want something to eat? No, thank you, Mr. Cheney. Secretary, I've had my breakfast. Before you know it, it didn't take long. Mark's over there, and I don't even remember the current events that we were able to carry on a conversation. But what other job could you have a one-on-one with? There was no reporter. They were just going to wire them up like for an interview. Great stuff.
Yeah, I can't think of one.
Muhammad Ali, Larry Holmes. I mean, to be able to, Larry Holmes is on his hands and knees looking for file footage for Jim Miller, and it's like, here, take a look at this. What do you think? Handing us tapes. What a great guy. And Muhammad Ali, very nice. Oh my God. Got to interview him once by myself because the station, where was he from? Louisville?
Yes.
Louisville named something after him, and they just asked us, hey, he's at training camp, he's not down here. Mark, go on down there. Yeah, you just got to ask him, they gave me questions to ask him, but I can say, I got to interview Muhammad Ali. God, Little Northeast PA, Pocono Raceway, Little League World Series.
I have one more question for you that I'm going to leave loaded in the chamber. Yeah. But before I do, I want you to, in your own words, what you wanted to say that maybe we haven't touched on.
It's going to be the last day or whatever this is showing. It's going to be tough. It sounds dumb, but to give your whole life to one place. Franklin Coslet hired me. Temporary job, summer fill-in during vacations. Then this crazy sportscaster Kevin Lynn says, I need a photographer. And the only guy dumb enough to want to do that was me. And a couple times I thought, Kevin with his boisterous personality, it's like, please, Kevin, don't get fired. And I'll be out the door with you, kind of thing. But he was so good to me. Just the thought that I came here just for a summer job. I had to break away, had to fall out of the nest in Binghamton, and the rest was history. I mean, I'm not a Wilkes-Barre boy, but I became one. Northeast PA is home for my kids. My wife was from here. It's amazing to think. Temporary job.
So my question is,
yes,
all of the wonderful people that we meet on a day in, day out basis,
yeah,
they'll probably be watching this. What would you want to say to them?
Well, thanks for holding all those doors, because I was always carrying stuff. But yeah, and everybody was so good, and they'd always say to me, oh, hey, make me look good. Those kind of things that photographers get asked. And that was always easy. But I did try my best. If there was a better side, or if there was something that was a little bit out of place, you'd try to find the neatest angle and make everybody look good. And the nicest thing about the interviews that you and I have done, you never are in it to make somebody look bad. And that's everybody's biggest concern. What am I going to say? Don't make, we did our best. I think I made everybody I met look good.
So as we say goodbye for now,
yeah,
in this role that you play here, the significant role that you play here and have played here, your final goodbye to.
Well, again, the photographer's never supposed to be noticed. If he's out of focus or the camera's a little bit tilted or you bump the camera in the middle of the interview. But thanks for always, the recognition that I got for the stories we shot, and when we're out there, everybody knows the reporter just because you're seen on camera. But I felt very appreciated by all the people that we met along the way, and the people that took for granted that we were going to give them a square, straight-on coverage of whatever we were asking them about. And a lot of uncomfortable situations, and all those times that you'd knock on a door, something terrible has happened. But if you don't knock on the door, you don't meet the person. And for all the times that the door was slammed and it's like, I don't want to talk to you, those few times that. And I was one of those bold guys that I would say, we've got to offer them the chance to say something,
Yeah, and I like the way you kind of said through the years, and it stuck with me, about we show up on your
worst day
and your
best day. So, your business is opening, we're there. Your business is shutting down due to some terrible, terrible misfortune or the death of the owner. When are we there? Your best day and your worst day. Hopefully we eased you through your worst day and supported you through the best day too.
So if you just want to say so long
backwards.
So long for now, like what would it be?
Oh yeah, well, I'm going to be watching. And I'm still going to be taking pictures for the fire department. So hopefully every once in a while I'll sneak a little bit of video on your air, and that's it. Everybody's a photographer now. Really and truly, it was such a big deal to shoot video in 1978 when I came here. Now everybody's got one on their belt, and it's hard to beat those people to the story. But hopefully I'll still be able to contribute now and then.
We know you will.
Don't call me in the middle of the night, though, okay? Maybe I'll already be up.
I think we could end up there.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Appreciate it, buddy.
One question. Any advice to upcoming photographers, if there is upcoming?
Oh my gosh.
Dinosaurs.
Yeah. It's the best, most interesting job, but we really are a vanishing breed because the equipment has gotten so lightweight, so easy to operate that it really, and the industry is moving towards these, even at the network level, some of these war correspondents, one-man band. Although I did kind of become that one-man band shooting back in the 70s and early 80s, but I didn't even realize that I was a trendsetter, and I'm not happy about that because I really think a better crew, every story is better done by a reporter and a photographer, and I don't care how good that multimedia journalist is.
I've always
you can
liked
concentrate on everything.
And I've always liked too the concept that two brains, two heads are better than one.
Oh my gosh, how many times have you pointed out something that I would have missed or I've been
Vice
able
versa.
to...
We just talk things out, and it's like, yes, that makes sense.
And
yes,
you putting
that
up
should be
with me,
added.
the interview's over, and then I have a question. It's like... it's like, who's that back there? And the poor person being interviewed, it's like... The interview's over. Shut up. I had that T-shirt. My sister gave me a T-shirt. It says, "I'm talking and I can't shut up."
I've seen Fulmer wear that too.
Yeah. Photographer.
It's kind of sharp.
Or videographer. That might
That's really
be
sharp.
like a Diana Penna or somebody.
That's really nice.
You got like 3 minutes of film, and this had the mag stripe on it, so you could record sound.
Okay,
on the
so
last
from there
camera.
you showed me what?
Then we went to videotape where went to like a 15-minute tape or 30-minute tape. I mean, that was a big deal. And then what do we have? The SD card.
Hold that steady. That's real small.
2 hours.
Hold it steady.
Just amazing.
So this is years of accumulation.
It definitely is accumulation. But as you can see, I love pictures. Some are sent to me. These pictures of Denali, I wasn't there. But some of my friends from the Back Mountain Trail, one of my sons playing soccer, family pictures. Picture my kid shakes the tree, and it's one of the classic family photos. I think it was in a Christmas card. That's me and a pilot friend waving from the Stearman biplane.
When would that have been more?
And that plane looks beautiful now. It's repainted as yellow. That's back probably since Devon flew, so probably, in the late...
more recent.
Yep.
Yeah.
NBC News Peking. It hasn't been Peking in like, 30 years?
Oh, my word.
It's Beijing. What else do we have here? My boys, I'm very proud of them and their fire department. Devon's moved out of town, but that's the boys in the Shavertown Fire Department, where I'll be spending a lot of my time in retirement. To mention the trail, what do we have here? Oh, all my years as a satellite truck operator. That's our old truck up in Scranton. That's me in Beijing, China, Tiananmen Square. Christy Capel. I snubbed her when she came here. She turned out to be the greatest, loveliest woman you could ever want to
You
work
snubbed
with.
her?
Oh yeah, she was a beauty queen or something. Somebody said, "Oh yeah, she was Miss Ohio or something like, or Miss Missouri." It's like, I want no part of this. I love her. Oh my God. What else do we have here? Oh, the boys. Dad, message to self. Dad, focus on what matters. I think I almost got fired right around that time for like somebody in disagreement. I created more than a few scenes in the newsroom. Keith Martin. Yeah.
Where's the one that says you're fired?
Oh, here. So after the quick departure of a general manager, one of our sales managers had his notepad and said, "You're fired," and signed it.
I can't see from here. That's not you in the DeLorean next to that note, is it?
It's Nathan. It's in our driveway though.
Wow.
My neighbor Rick Schmidt has a DeLorean.
Wow.
Mattioli family, Doc and Rose, and Mary Louise, and Michelle, who we're closest with from church. She's not even in those pictures, but God, again, the family love that you get here. The Mattiolis, I think they just Rose liked Maureen, so we've been invited to Mattioli parties. I have to write her a note now to because we're invited to the race again.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yep. And all the old has-beens. Oh my gosh, Kevin Lynn and Vince Sweeney pictures. Oh, and I never mentioned the captain. Somehow you might want to mention.
It's working its way in.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
I'm disappointed that apparently we don't have any video of you with
No, and the weird thing
Mark.
about that
and you were
was
behind the scenes
right.
guy.
And the whole way that got discovered was one morning, Vince is like, "Hey, is Mark out there?" Or however he addressed me, and he said something funny, and I laughed, and I had a Nat Sound mic. And he said,
well, in radio, he used to go by
you.
Captain Ernie. He would do a bogus traffic report.
Really?
So maybe that's how you
Captain Ernie,
became, because I adopted Captain Mark readily, handily.
And he named me. Not, there was nothing captain about me, but yeah. And I think Ingy's got this picture. A very, very young Kevin Lynn and me. This was taken by my brother-in-law. I met my wife through videography because her brother was a photographer for the Times Leader, and he took pictures for Wilkes University. And this was definitely a Wilkes. I don't know whether it was a picture he was taken for the school or a picture he was taken for the newspaper.
That hair, as I was referring to, your luscious locks.
Yeah, they're gone. Get a shot of that. It's short and...
But your hair would get blonde, right? It was the... Sun?
When you're a sports photographer, all you do during the day is go to the free pool at Francis Slocum State Park. I met so many nice... I met Debbie Dunleavy's sister. I still have a crush on her. God bless Donna. But there were people, the nurses and everything. I thought, I'm going to meet my wife at the Francis Slocum State Park pool. I didn't.
You're off by a few miles.
Yeah. It was so funny, though, because I'd ride out from my apartment in Wilkes-Barre on my motorcycle. If you only swam for 20 minutes, it was something to cool off before a hot day at work. Jim Miller pictures. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Jim Miller.
Carrie Shan telling me I couldn't complain until I had punched in. She says,
I love
remember, no complaining until you've punched in.
Get that shot, will you please?
Love her.
What does it say?
Albrecht, remember, no complaining until you've punched in. Love, Carrie. You're off the clock. You can't complain. My buddy Vince. We were both in our private lives there. Me with the trail, and he was the announcer for a back mountain
auction or something.
Dallas Field Day. Oh, I forget what they call it. Pictures of the kids playing soccer. My joy.
Yeah.
Gosh, if it weren't for them, I would have lost my mind long ago. And Devin's first flight, when he did his first solo flight, we're all over at the airport. Looks like a kid there. He has more hair there. That's the only claim to fame. I think I might have more hair than Devin. Don't have more money in this sort of a... Oh. Sister Mary back focus. I thought she was going to take my job at one time. No. Who takes this picture? I don't remember where I got it from, but I sure held on to it.
Did you take the picture of her?
No, I don't even know where this is.
Or who it is?
No.
That's your camera?
No. I just love that it was a fully habited nun shooting video somewhere. Obviously at a bigger event than I was covering that day. Sister Mary back focus. Actually, it looks like she's a young...
Mark, come on, be honest. You're going to pull it with me. You're going to come back after like 2 weeks.
I'm gonna have a hard time. This is already tough. Plus, I got to clean up this mess.
Oh, gosh, I don't
And then I
envy
went to
you.
the cabinet upstairs. There's a whole cabinet full of... I found AA batteries that were given to me by Don in case he wasn't around. I've been going to Don for batteries the last... Did I tell you I was in charge of the vehicle fleet for a while? Don't let the state see this. I was probably supposed to mail them in or something. This is funny. But, gosh.
Anything else?
Yeah. I was never one for awards, but this was achievement of some sort. This was from something I did do pretty well in high school, getting accolades. And I broke. It's like
He's line on Kyla when she messaged me. Was it finished third in a 2-banana race?
Honorable mention. What do they call them now? The participation award.
Brother, yeah.
Nate was dressed up as Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay, yeah, Winnie the
and
Pooh.
you guys
and it was Nate.
spotted it, yeah. And Devin wore an NBC Sports hat or something, and he got on with his mother. But yeah, they closed the show. Ann Curry took Nate in her arms and told him to wave to the camera. They closed, in those days, they closed out on the plaza.
Wow.
And then you were on, like, you and Connie LeGrand, I think.
Yeah.
Because I have that
Yeah.
video somewhere.
Yeah.
I kept that. Well, I knew. I was smart enough to set the VCR. Oh, I'm going to miss you busting my ass. I am definitely going to miss that.
We do it with the most affection, I might add. Congratulations, Mark.
Oh, damn.
I had to cut it.
Sure.
I had to cut into the dance. Yeah. Great working with you.
It's been a
And
pleasure.
you, Mark, but
yeah. Well, you're going to continue to work together. I'm out
This
of here.
guy is passionate about what he does, in all seriousness, so we're going to miss you here. Thanks. We'll miss you. Going to miss you, man. Okay, yeah.
I still don't know that Hazelton handshake. You won't share it, will you?
Here's the Hazelton handshake, right there. Pinky's locked.
Oh,
There you go.
that's it. Thanks. That's all it is. Dang. I could have learned that.
Sorry, Mark, you can resume your dance.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, boy. So,
Isn't that funny? Two people said passion. Well, you know, you are. There's no
I'm
denying
the
it,
only
but
guy
I mean,
who can come back with 4 minutes of a head-on, or, a fender bender.
Yeah.
But I do love, and all those, like, late-night standoffs and stuff like that.
oh, gosh.
Those, I mean, if you don't make
You and I are
it
just
fun,
cut
it's
from-
just annoying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as soon as it was so neat to go to this thing up in Plains this week, and as soon as the fireman, it was a fireman, not a cop, said, "I'm sorry, you can't go beyond this point." It's like, oh, okay. I get in my car and figure out, well, there's got to be a back way in, and we had just seen cut up through the hospital, down the dirt road, and I'm right there. And then they're so nice, it's like, oh crap, how did he get here? So they let me get my shots, and then the police chief comes over and says, "You really have to go." And
I
it's
was
like,
thinking at
okay.
the end of our day with the tracking dog that was being used to try to find the actual weapon used in the shooting in Pittston Township
Yes.
about if I were with anybody else, I don't think we would have gotten any of that.
Oh, just that
to
snoop
drive
of
down
me, it's
Chapman
like,
Street? I
yeah,
don't think
we
that would have happened.
We got to check out another
to
angle.
stop the car and
Well,
discuss.
somebody tipped us off that he was in a wooded area close by, and that was. Remember, I looked at the overhead, and that was the only kind of wooded area that wasn't.
Wow, what an opening game in the Little League World Series at Williamsport today. It could be a sign of what's going to happen all the way up until the final game Saturday. We're going to be there live today, tomorrow, and Friday, or rather Thursday, to give you all the details. Mark Albrecht is there right now. Mark, welcome back from vacation, and what an assignment you happen to get on your first day back. Tell me what's happening in today's game, and how did Taiwan make out in that opener this afternoon?
John, it was a beautiful day, and it's fun to be back. Earlier, it was Taiwan against Latin America. I'm going to hold off a little bit on that. Taiwan was the leader, though. I have to sneak that by. Right now, we're looking at a contest between two American teams. It's the second game of the day, and right now, the South, represented by Tampa, leads the East, Pawtucket, by 11 runs to 3. It was earlier a lead held by Rhode Island, but then they came back, Tampa, and they've gone ahead 11-3 right now. But when you think of the World Series, you have to think of Taiwan. They've taken 8 of the last 11 World Series championships, including the last 3 in a row. This afternoon was just the same for Taiwan. Let's take a look at the highlights as at 2 o'clock, the opening game against Latin America today. The bigger and faster Long Kwong team in blue led off in a contest against their Latin American opponents. They got right down to business. With one man on, Taiwan center fielder Shending Chen blasted one over the left field fence. That was good for 2 runs and a lead that would prove impossible to catch. The South American squad represented the Pabao Little League from Curaçao in the Netherlands Antilles. They wouldn't have any luck against the high-speed pitching of Taiwan's Shushin Lee. He had a no-hitter going until the 4th inning. Taiwan's Chen would score the 3rd run of the game, too, in the top of the 3rd. His hit to the wall in center was overthrown at 3rd, and the Long Kwong Leaguer would look anything but little as he beat out the play at the plate. 3-0 Taiwan. Another run scored in the 5th, and in the 6th, another Chen, this time number 22, Yang Hung, put the game out of reach with his 2-run homer out of the fielder's reach. And Taiwan would win the World Series opener 6-0, much to the pleasure of the flag-waving fans.
Okay, Mark, very good. Now, the game that's going on today, any of these teams are going to be in contention by the end of the week, or is Taiwan the odds-on heavy favorite? Let's tell it like it is, guy.
Right
You've
now,
been watching them.
Taiwan looks really hard to touch right now. I was talking with a TV crew from Tampa, and they said that they think their team had no problem with this Rhode Island team, and as that 11-3 score shows, that might be the case. The way they have it set up right now, too, no matter what happens, it'll be an American team up against a foreign team for that championship, and that just might be Tampa. We don't know, though. Tomorrow there will be a Canadian team meeting a European team going against Taiwan, and the West and Central will meet also tomorrow, so that we haven't seen those teams play. It could be anybody's game.
We'll see him tomorrow, and your live report again tomorrow from Williamsport. Good job. Welcome back. See you tomorrow.
Thanks, Jim.
Same time. Okay, Mark Albrecht live from Williamsport, back there again tomorrow. The Dodgers beat the Phillies at the Vet last night. Okay, Mark, well, there you go. Taiwan winning big, Tampa leading now by a score of 14-0. That could be the big game. I'm going to ask you again, put you on the spot. You're watching Tampa. You've seen Taiwan play. Can Tampa beat Taiwan on Saturday?
With shutouts going the way they are today, I still think it's going to come down to that pitcher's duel. And we've seen two pitchers now from Taiwan. Shengding Shen today pitched what they say was even faster than Shushin Lee earlier in the week, and he was clocked at 88 miles an hour. Tampa will have to hit those balls if they'll get on the board. I think it's going to be an interesting game to watch and a hard game for Tampa to win, but we'll pull for them as Taiwan goes for their 4th series lead.
Okay, Mark, good to hear from you. There it is. You'll be back later tonight at 11 o'clock. That's it for our live coverage from Williamsport this week, because tomorrow is an off-day consolation game. So it looks like Tampa and Taiwan Saturday for the World Championship of Little League Baseball.
Hi, this is how the sentence
World Series, it's all over. Hugh Finn was there, and in fact right now I think we may even be able to go over to Mickey Finn's, which is a local pub in Wilkes-Barre, where we had a little bit of a corner shot right at the end of the World Series, and I understand, Mark, that I'm not exactly sure, but it seemed to me like there wasn't a whole lot of celebrating over there. Were there a lot of Royal fans in the crowd?
Who says it's all over, Kevin? Kevin, over here, there's still a good contingent of Phillies fans on hand. Celebration, I don't think will stop for quite a while. And to describe the feeling and the mood tonight here, I'd have to say it was confidence. If I can talk with somebody here, I understand that you had your bottle of champagne bought pretty early in the evening. What time did you buy that champagne?
I had that bottle of champagne ordered by the bottom of the 5th. I knew we were going to have it. We had it on the table. I didn't open it until the game was over, but we had that bottle by the bottom of the 5th. Total optimism. Phillies did a great job.
And that was the mood, and everybody seems to agree that there was a most valuable player. Who did you think that was?
Tug McGraw all the way, Tug McGraw. No doubt about it. I think the whole team was in there. All the team and all the fans deserve the credit. They had a long season. They deserve it all. I like both.
Celebration continues, Kevin. We're hoping you'll join us soon.
Okay, I'll be right over. Thanks very much. Okay. It's sort of almost an anticlimax to mention that there were other pro sports tonight.
This is Jim Miller for Eyewitness Sports. When WBRE television covers a sporting event, we do it right. In preparing for the Fiesta Bowl, Sid Michaels hit the road to get the Miami side of the story, while Bill Longworth and I landed in Tempe, Arizona, days before the competition. WBRE had 3 bowl specials, plus live daily satellite feeds on the biggest event of the college football season. Eyewitness Sports was the only local station to broadcast live from the Fiesta Bowl after the game. Eyewitness Sports. Nobody works harder.
Eyewitness News Nightcast on your radio, WXBX Hazleton.
The NASCAR Mountain Dew 500. Drivers like Richard Petty, Johnny Rutherford, and Cale Yarborough will be hitting speeds up to 140 miles an hour. But that is nothing compared to the speeds that Stan Barrett is used to. Barrett is the world record holder of the land speed mark at 739 miles an hour in his Miss Budweiser rocket-powered car. He too will be competing at the Mountain Dew 500, and he is standing by with Mark Albrecht at the Wyoming Valley Mall. Mark, have you ever had a man that fast before to talk to?
Not quite this fast, that's for sure, John. John, he's going to be in a new kind of car. He'll be driving the number 22 Skoal Bandit. That car is owned by Hal Needham and Burt Reynolds, which is an unusual group of owners. Welcome to Wilkes-Barre. Stan, just what does it take to make a change from a bullet, literally, with a rocket engine, to driving the Grand National Circuit?
Well, it takes two good buddies with a lot of money for one thing, and you know, a team we put together. Travis Carter is our crew chief to come and go racing. The transition is quite a transition. You know, you're used to going straight. I made 18 runs in the rocket car, and get in a stock car with relatively no experience except my stunt background, and try to be competitive in it. It's been a kind of a tough go.
You've done pretty well so far. You've completed 9 races. The Mountain Dew race will be your 10th. How do you expect to do at this race?
Boy, there's really no way of saying. You know, when you think you're going to do well. A couple of weekends ago, I was racing at Daytona and inherited the lead on a yellow and didn't stay there very long. But I was running 5th and 8th pretty consecutively and blew an engine. And so you never know what's going to happen. I'm anxious to race this track. This is one of the first tracks I was ever on in any kind of a serious race car, and that was with Paul Newman about 4 years ago. Paul flew my wife and I up to a race, and I went around the track with him. So it's going to be interesting to be going around it the opposite way and be driving it myself.
Well, I wish you lots of luck, and we're going to have to watch Stan because he'll be about the only man at the race that'll have to slow down to keep up with the guys.
All right, Mark, you look very good with those Foster grants. The chief negotiator for the baseball club owners and the Players Association.
Right now we're on the Larksville Mountain where the intensive day-long manhunt for Bernard Karish has just ended about 5 minutes ago. As you see, it was on this mountain behind me where police picked up the track. It apparently was Mr. Karish riding a motorcycle through this field. Another policeman on motorcycle then picked him up, chased him around the field, back onto the roadway. It's at that time a reporter, Mark Albrecht, picked him up with his car and drove down the street. You were there when police picked him up at that time.
I was right there as it happened. It was all kind of a surprise to us, and this is what live TV can do for us. I was heading down the hill to get some other shots following a few police officers when all of a sudden they veered to block an oncoming vehicle. At that time, 2 motorcyclists went by me. The second one was noticeably dressed in police uniform. And then they came up around your area. They passed this very spot only minutes ago. We're still out of breath from it. And then proceeded down the hill. That's back east, down Mountain Hill Road, also known as Wilson Road. And when he was blocked there, turned into a field owned by the Tom Law family. And at that point, both motorcyclists went down and the apprehension was made. Injuries seemed minor. The Edwardsville policeman who was on the second motorcycle was fine. The apprehended suspect was limping, but no real serious injuries, but he is apprehended, and we'll have more footage of that, certainly with more names later.
We did have reports earlier today that the accused broke into a home on Wilson Street here and made off with a rifle and a pistol. He was believed armed during the search today. Were there any signs of weapons when he was apprehended this afternoon?
At the time, he had no weapons on him. He made some comments, but I'm not sure if it was reference to that. He said he had no weapons. They searched him, and that was what they turned up, just nothing.
And to give you some background on this, Bernard Karish was brought into Luzerne County last night. He was serving a prison sentence in New Jersey. Today he was supposed to be arraigned in Kingston. They took him to a cemetery where he said he had stashed some of the stolen merchandise he was facing more charges for. At that time he broke away. That's when the massive search began. We've seen helicopters, dog teams, and hundreds of policemen through these mountains all day. And as Mark just said, the arrest has been made, and we do have some footage and some video of the arrest that was made just a while ago. So we'll try to have that for you later in this newscast. But again, Bernard Karish has been arrested by police on the search. The search is over. He is in custody at this hour. Diane?
We are going back to the scene where Todd Ulrich and Mark Albrecht have waited and watched while they captured an armed prisoner. Todd, Mark?
Diane, we were waiting and watching, and about a half hour ago it happened right behind us, just before 6 o'clock. The manhunt was for 19-year-old Bernard Karish. He escaped from police officials here in this area early this morning. We're on the Larksville Mountain, and right behind us is where police finally caught up with him. About 10 minutes to 6, they chased him on a motorcycle and then chased him down a road. We see it right now, and Mark Albrecht can pick it up from there.
Well, this is Bernard after the bikes had gone down. You'll see them frisking him here and checking to make sure that he didn't have those weapons with him. The state police helicopter that was used all day was in the area. Didn't actually aid in this particular apprehension.
Mark, there were reports that he had handcuffs on when he escaped. Did he have handcuffs on when you found him?
There's no way. I ride a motorcycle, and there's no way you could ride one with handcuffs on. He didn't even have what looked like the remnants of handcuffs on from what I could see.
And again, he was believed armed. Were there any sign of weapons there when he was finally apprehended?
Nothing at all. You'll notice here as he's getting in the car, whoops, we're back. He did have that limp. There were no weapons on his person when they apprehended him.
Again, Diane, right now all we can believe is he will be arraigned on the charges he was to face this morning. There are more burglary charges. He was from a New Jersey prison. He came back here to be arraigned for more burglary charges. Again, he has been picked up. He is in custody now, and we can only believe that Bernard Karish will be arraigned later tonight. We'll have that information later. Diane?
Thank you both. Normally we have tank of gas.
Let's go!
That could be a claim of the past. Just like so many things today, the parade is growing in popularity in the rural town of Jameson City. This year, the parade had 4 floats. It all dates back to the early 30s when the Reverend Capex family used to have yearly gatherings and informal parades on July 4th. Now the event draws hundreds of spectators and is organized under the cool-headed direction of Betty Repko.
There is no organization. This parade is never organized. Believe me, it really isn't.
That would explain why the parade, only 40 seconds from color guard to bicycles, took a route that made it last an hour and a half. One thing that hasn't changed is the Grand Marshal, or Grandmother of the parade. Ms. Jameson City, Clara Sutliff, has held that title for a number of years. The 77-year-old Jameson resident and self-proclaimed Goodwill ambassador describes the responsibilities that go with the title Ms. Jameson City.
Just to keep law and order and pick up all the old beer bottles they throw around so other people don't fall. All these old folks might fall on them beer bottles, you know, so we have to pick all them up.
After the parade, there was lots to do, including beer drinking, horseshoes, and the buried pig roast. We'll talk about the 2nd annual tobacco spitting contest during tonight's sports. In Jameson City, Mark Albrecht reporting for Eyewitness News. Yes, this is a sports story, promise. These are athletes warming up in Jameson City today for the 2nd annual tobacco spitting contest. Bluegrass music is all part of the mood, as is beer drinking. Both are prerequisites towards the frame of mind for signing up to spit for many of the competitors. They came from several states, and for the first time this year, the roster included women. Yes, some independent women on Independence Day. After sign-up, the rules are explained, while the organizer, Hat Feather, rolls out the 35-foot runner that is the playing field for the contest. The players are presented their ammunition source and load up. The rules forbid foreign matter in the chew and stepping over the line. Otherwise, anything goes in getting the mouth juices from here to there.
Oh, now, honey, you can't love two. I say, honey, you can't love two. Well, you can't love two. Expect to be true, Lord, honey, you can't love two.
As in any sport, there are hazards to being an official. When it was over, a new champ was named. This year, James Davis of Berwick took the honors, a coveted spittoon, courtesy of the Red Man Tobacco Company. His longest shot, 22 feet 6 inches. He says he's been chewing since kindergarten. Second place went to Wilkes-Barre's Rick Earl, who in his first year of competing set a new Jameson City record of 26 feet 5.5 inches. I'm sure you're wondering about the ladies. Well, Barb Steiner of Kingston took 3rd place. Actually, if there was a 3rd place, she would have taken it. Who knows, this little red man might grow up to be the spitting image of his father. Oh, in Jameson City, Mark Albrecht reporting for Eyewitness Sports.
To turn something that had absolutely no value to the community into an asset like this, it's heartwarming for us to see the runners come out and tell us that, boy, we've actually improved it to the point where it's too easy to run, you know. And to be able to take it back, because it has been taken over by nature and by private ownership, and we're getting it back bit by bit, inch by inch, mile by mile. Where you guys would get a little more cross-country run into it once we have the, only in the last few months that,
It's down the beach. I don't see the sort of thing up here, Mark.
44 years at work, and all I get is an airplane. I love it.
That's so sweet. Yep. That's why I kept looking at my phone. Oh my God.
That's my kind of trip. Oh my gosh, was that time well too?
It was. Well, I had him text me when he was picking up the banner and then taking. Well, I was getting nervous when you were watching that video downstairs. It was like, oh boy, we gotta go.
you.